Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in the Twin Cities, it's time for Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and we've got a great guest, a clean guest, Laura Meemken. Well, folks, you'll get the joke in a second. She's with All Clean Food. Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. Let's talk about you first and give a little background on you and All Clean Food. How are you serving folks out there?
Absolutely. So my background is in mental health. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, but I've always loved food. I am passionate about nutrition. I love the concept of using food as medicine. And in my mental health practice in the past, that was part of the work that I did, was helping people figure out how to eat healthier in order to feel better, because we have to eat well to feel well. And so that's always been a huge passion area of mine. And I heard from people over and over and over that it was difficult for them, right? That they're too busy. They don't like to cook. You know, a lot of people can relate to those challenges. So that was something I was experiencing in my practice. And then we had kids and they had a ton of food allergies. So then it kind of added on this extra layer of complication for us, where we went from being a family who enjoyed cooking, who loved food, who liked to eat healthy, to becoming very overwhelmed and stressed out on the concept of food, because we just could not find a single simple meal solution in the store that would help our family because of the amount of our allergies. So that is what motivated me to start this business, All Clean Food, to create easy meal solutions for busy families like ours, who want to be able to cook one delicious, comforting meal for all around the table. But again, it has to be free from allergens so that all around the table can enjoy it.
A lot there to unpack and great work there. So thank you for that. Before we dive deeper into All Clean Food, let's explore a little bit more this connection between, I guess, what you consume and what comes out in terms of the results that you have in physical and mental health. Because so many people look at food as something that's either necessary or something to enjoy that often ends up in excess in some form or fashion.
Sure.
And so talk about just that connection between what you put in your body and what you get out in terms of physical and mental health.
Absolutely. And, you know, for what you said too, I mean, it is something to enjoy and it is something that's necessary. It's all of those things. And we have to have enough nutrients in our body. If we really simplify things and break it down, we have to have enough nutrients in our body for our body and our brain to function properly. And I think that's a really key take-home point, that, you know, when we eat things that might taste good and look like food, but are very altered and processed, and, you know, there's not a lot of real food in it, then we're missing the opportunity to get enough nutrients. So if we're eating a lot of processed things, you know, heavy in wheat and dairy and all of that, and not enough plants, not enough vegetables, not enough nutrients, then our body and our brain is not going to get what it needs.
So let's take this one step further down the road into allergies and the link between food and allergies. And everyone knows that some foods cause allergies in some individuals.
Yes.
But let's talk about food as cause of allergies, because I think that's really where where a lot of your work is aimed, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're seeing a huge rise in food allergies. The latest statistic is that 1 in 13 children might have a food allergy. And you know what? I actually tend to think it's underdiagnosed, because oftentimes symptoms of food allergies are things like rashes, tummy aches, gastrointestinal issues. So it's not always a huge allergic reaction where somebody breaks into hives. So oftentimes children and adults are going undiagnosed and continuing to eat the things that they're allergic to, which causes more and more inflammation to their body and subsequent health problems.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we're seeing a huge rise in this area. And more families are starting to realize, even if they haven't been officially diagnosed with a food allergy or sensitivity, they're realizing that maybe they or their children feel better if they remove one of these common allergens. So it's pretty common now. You'll hear families talking about maybe removing dairy or removing gluten or some of these kind of bigger, more commonly inflammatory categories. And they'll say, we just feel better. We feel better when we don't do dairy in our family, or my child sleeps better when we don't have gluten, or my child's rash went away when we removed this certain thing from their diet. So people are definitely starting to get more keyed into this issue and explore this on a deeper level.
So let's talk a little bit about your kids and kind of what really got you passionate about this, such that you got so passionate you formed a company, right? And I want to get to that.
Right.
I want to get to that in a second. But let's talk about your experience with your children and some of because they had some pretty severe allergies that you had to deal with.
They did. And, we didn't know right away. I mean, my intuition was screaming at me that something was wrong because I was seeing things like eczema, sleep issues. And the thing that actually concerned me the most was kind of this gross motor developmental lag, I'll call it. So my baby at the time, she just didn't really seem interested in moving around that much. She wasn't rolling when she was supposed to roll. She wasn't crawling when she was supposed to crawl. She wasn't reaching out to explore her world as we would hope to see in infants. And she just kind of seemed lethargic to me. And I knew that something was wrong. It really seemed clear to me that she was not feeling well. So now to let us into our world, my husband and I basically didn't sleep for 2 years because our baby did not sleep well, right? She was not feeling well. So that's something that we were experiencing. And then my older child at the time, we have 3 children now. At the time, we just had the 2. But my older child was not having a ton of difficulty, but just some kind of occasional stomach aches and gastrointestinal stuff. And we were kind of just watching that. Well, what ended up happening was when my baby was introduced to solid foods, when she ate her first egg, she had an anaphylactic reaction. Very, very scary. And for any parents who have experienced this, it's very traumatic to see this happen to a child. Wasn't something I had ever seen before. We don't have a history of food allergies whatsoever in the family. My husband and I were completely scared and didn't know what to do. Thankfully, she ended up being okay. But that's what started us on the journey of really realizing that, wow, she has really severe allergies. And it turned out my own older child with minimal symptoms ended up having allergies as well. So that's really what started us on the path of figuring out how to eat really, really clean, remove all those allergens and help their body heal and calm down so that they could thrive. And they did. When we changed our diets and we cleaned things up and cut everything out that they couldn't have, they started to do beautifully. And my baby caught up on all her milestones. It was incredible.
So for those that don't know, and I'd be one of those people, what exactly is an anaphylactic reaction? What does that look like?
That means when the reaction is so severe that you break into, oftentimes it's hives.
Oh, wow.
And your throat is swelling and starts to close a bit. Oftentimes the child's going to have difficulty getting oxygen. So in our baby's case, her lips turn blue. It was very, very scary. Oftentimes gagging or wheezing will come along with that anaphylaxis. So it's a scary reaction. And these are the types of reactions that parents are carrying around. EpiPens. Have you heard of EpiPens?
Sure.
They're carrying these EpiPens, because these reactions are very scary and they can be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is, I can see how traumatic that must have been, not just for you and your husband, but the baby. I mean, and how stressful that was. So, but even with that motivation to make a change, there's a long road between there and starting a company. Right?
Right.
So let's talk about what led to the formation of All Clean Food, and why it went that far for you.
It's so interesting, isn't it? I years ago, probably would have never imagined that I would have started a food business, but it's incredible where your journey takes you. So we were going through this as I was describing as a family and figuring out how to help our family be healthy and help the kids heal and all of this good stuff. But my husband and I realized that we were not alone in the struggle to feed our family well. Really, almost every family I spoke to, whether it was in my practice or my personal life or our neighbors, they wanted to eat better and they wanted to feed their family better, and yet struggled to find the time, didn't really enjoy cooking, missed the comfort food that they enjoyed as children. I was hearing the same things over and over and going, gosh, we feel the same way. And then, of course, it adds even more of a difficulty when you have allergies and sensitivities. And so as I was creating solutions for my own family to speed things up and help mealtime go more smoothly, I determined that this isn't something that maybe just we can benefit from. This is something that all families can really benefit from, and something that I can put out into the world to help other families eat better and feel better to, more largely improve mental health.
Wow. Great stuff here from Laura Meemken. Laura is the CEO, co-founder of All Clean Food. So you and your husband changed your diets as well. I kind of skipped over that little piece of your story. What motivated that beyond just wanting to identify with your kids?
Yeah. I mean, we all wanted to eat meals together.
Sure.
I think was the main thing. And I think my husband would completely agree that he was the slowest to make the change. He was kind of going, I don't know, all of these stir fries, all of the, it just was a little bit different than what he was used to eating. But over time, we got really, really innovative in the kitchen and really good at cooking. And so he absolutely loved the meals. And both of us I think both of us were people that didn't really have a ton of complaints before. I mean, we were functioning fine and had our jobs and felt like we were fairly healthy people. But then when we changed our diets, we realized, well, whoa, I didn't think I was feeling bad before, but maybe I was, because now I have way more energy. I don't have these occasional days where I just feel like down in the dumps or kind of depressed. My husband had, just put on a little bit of weight over the years, and he took it off completely without even trying. So he was really excited about that. I mean, just all of these positive changes came about for us. So it was pretty cool to see.
That's great. Now, so talk about, I guess, the lineup of food offerings that you have, how you develop those, and kind of give us a sense of what that looks like. And we're going to direct you to the website here by the end of the show. But Laura, why don't you describe it?
My real life and my background here. Sorry about that.
That's okay. A perfect example of doing what an entrepreneur has to do, right?
Of a working mom, right? Or working parent.
The real life of a working entrepreneur and mom, right there together. Yeah, but so talk about what, in your own words, what that looks like, what your product offering looks like.
Yeah, so right now we have 4 SKUs, and they are organic pasta meals that are free from the top 14 allergen, and which also makes them vegan friendly, by the way. Oh. So we have creamy garlic pasta, savory Italian pasta, taco pasta, and porcini mushroom pasta. And they're all delicious in their own way, extremely flavorful. And the whole idea is that they're easy to make your own. So you add your own protein, add tons of plants and vegetables, make them beautiful, make them delicious, make them the way that your family likes them. And they're super quick. I mean, once you get used to making these, you'll be done in 12 minutes easily.
Oh, wow.
So very quick to make.
Okay. And one of the things that I was reading in the show notes that I thought was interesting about what your product line is it satisfies the craving for comfort food.
Yes. I think this is huge. You know, when we're looking to clean up our diets, we can't expect ourselves to eat raw salads for every meal. I mean, salads are wonderful. I love them. But sometimes, you know, maybe it's an emotional need, or maybe it's just a physical craving, but you're really craving that warm, like gooey comfort food, and maybe things that you remember your grandmother or your mother making. So there has to be a way for us to, if we're trying to clean up our diets, to replace things we used to enjoy with a cleaner version. And this is a perfect example of that. You know, a lot of people grew up on boxed, I don't know, mac and cheese or hamburger helper, Alfredos, or, you know, interesting kind of gooey box dinners. We know now that a lot of those are not really the best choice from a health perspective,
right?
But we remember them tasting so good. So this is a great replacement for that. Good, warm comfort food, something that everybody around the table will eat. And something I really like telling people is that it is Picky Kid approved. So I went around and tested the pickiest children I know in my personal circle and found that this is Picky Kid approved. So that's huge.
There you go. The advantages of being a mompreneur, right? You've got a built-in bunch of testers right there.
That's
so
right. I have access to all of these tasters.
I love it. I love it. Now, one of the things you said there that I found interesting. So a lot of your products, the dishes that you offer can be used as a base to add to and create a different kind of dish or more elaborate dish.
That's right. Yep, that's right. And it's actually really fun because if you have very basic cooking ability, you really don't need to do much to this. The flavoring is wonderful and it's very decadent. But if you're somebody who really enjoys cooking and likes getting creative, I mean, you can get very, very creative with the amount of vegetables you put on, some fresh herbs over the top, any type of specialty ingredients, or even a little like truffle oil drizzle. I mean, you could get as fancy as you want with this.
Yeah, for sure. Folks, we're here chatting with Laura Meemken, and Laura is the co-founder and CEO of All Clean Food. And so, Lauren, do you have like recipes on your website maybe that involve this, or is that something you offer?
We do have some. Yeah. We do, yeah, and absolutely. And if anybody puts in an order and wants an idea, definitely feel free to reach out. We love engaging with people on social media. I definitely have some reels and things like that on Instagram that show a lot of different ideas. But a great, honey, I'm on a call.
Mommy,
I'm on a call. A great idea is to add like chicken or seafood to the creamy.
One spot is on my tummy.
And like I said, like just any fresh herb, any vegetable is just wonderful.
Okay. Now, but we emphasize though that, and I love what it says on your packaging. It says organic dinner done. So if you want it done, it's done, folks. You don't, there's not,
you don't have to, and you know what? We don't have to do that to ourselves, right? To overcomplicate every single thing. This is supposed to be that meal that you keep in your pantry for a busy night. And maybe when you don't have the mental energy to think about anything else to cook, or you're not in the mood, just grab this. It's easy. It's ready to go. And no guilt because it's made from real ingredients only. There's no preservatives, additives, added sugar, any of that junk. So it's just made from real herbs and spices.
No, that's terrific. Now, okay, so we've talked a lot about what you have to offer. Now we got to get to the real important question. Where do you find it?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right. Where can we find those meals?
Yeah. In Minneapolis-St. Paul, you can find it in most of the co-ops and many of the health food stores. And then we'll be in Lunds and Byerly's in the next month or so. You can find us on Amazon, or you can go to allcleanfood.com. And we're actually having a 15% off sale for Allergy Awareness Month here in May. So make sure you take advantage of that, and free shipping on any orders over 50. So it's a pretty good deal.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great deal. So let's step aside here for just a second and give some advice. I mean, you started this company, I take it, with not really any experience in the food business, correct?
This is correct.
Boy,
Yep.
you don't have any courage or anything, do you, Laura?
I think I was just crazy from not sleeping for years.
I'll do anything, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No, give some advice to entrepreneurs that maybe have a product where they're trying to find shelf space for it. And there's a lot of products out there. It's hard to get on those shelves. Talk about your journey and how you did that. Yes.
You know what? I think, with entrepreneurship, first of all, you just have to start. And then you have to just keep going. And it's going to feel like an emotional roller coaster. Some days are tough and things don't go well. And you get turned down maybe by a retailer you're really hoping to be in, for example. But just keep going and take small steps every day. And before you know it, you're going to have a thriving business. I mean, I've watched this happen in the past year, even during the pandemic. Just sticking with it and doing things every day has been huge. So that would be my first bit of advice. Just start and just keep going. And then the second thing is surround yourself with incredible mentors, especially if you're in the food business specifically. There's an incredible network of people here in Minneapolis-St. Paul who have been through this, and they're willing to talk to new business owners like me and help us through the process and offer their wisdom and advice. So that's been just huge. I'm connected to some incredible people here in the Twin Cities, and I'm so thankful for them.
That's awesome. And thanks to them, we're shouting them out.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks to them for all being the mentor of your mentor and helping you along the way. So what's coming next? I mean, what does the future look like for your company?
Well, we're excited to launch a couple very kid-friendly mac and cheeses this summer. So they'll be free from the top 14 allergens. But creamy, yummy mac and cheeses that the kids are going to love. And then early of 2022, we have some exciting snacks coming into the mix. So something with good amount of protein, plants, hidden veggies, all of that good stuff. So stay tuned because we've got some good stuff coming your way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, before we let you go, I mean, one of the things I want to just go back and circle is that your product line of food offerings is not just for folks that have allergies. I mean, right. the health benefits can come to any of us.
That's right. Absolutely. You'll find that we're actually the only boxed meal of its type that is completely free from preservatives and is organic and made from real ingredients only. So if you read our ingredient panel, you will recognize every single word on there. And that's huge because in this space, we need to know what's in the food we're eating, whether we have allergies or not. So absolutely, this is a great, healthy, easy, quick option for anybody.
So folks, if you want to eat better without a lot of processed food that has 18-letter ingredients in it that you've never heard of, then Laura's got the answer for you. Laura Meemken, right. With All Clean Food. Laura, this has been great. Thank you. It's great to hear from you and the happy kids in the background too. They gave a
full and full of joy. I'll tell you what.
Well, they gave a commercial for the happiness, right, that they're having. So I thought that was great. So
we're not short on happiness or energy at my house. I'll tell you that.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. But let's get to the most important question. For those that want to be in touch, let's give them your coordinates, particularly your website where they can order.
Absolutely. So allcleanfood.com is the website. And feel free to reach out and email me if you have any questions about ingredients or anything. You can reach me at laura@allcleanfood.com.
Awesome. Laura Meemken, folks, with All Clean Food. Laura, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Folks, just a quick reminder that you can find this show on all the major podcast apps. And we're talking Apple, Google, Spotify. I hadn't been stumped yet on one we can't be found on. Here's what my ask of you is, please, is go find the show, search for Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio on your favorite app and subscribe. And if you would also take it one step further and give us a 5-star review, I would love that. It's not about me. It's not about Business RadioX. It's about our guests. We want people to find the show so that they can use the products and services of great business leaders like Laura, who have been on our show to date. So if you could do that for us, that would be much appreciated. If you want to see our entire show archive, probably the easiest URL to use is minnesotabusinessradio.com, and you can find our complete show archive there and all the great business leaders we've had to date. So for my guest, Laura Meemken, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio.